Day number 14 of the Daily Journal video series. Everybody, welcome back. My name is Hervin, and in this Daily Journal video series, I am sharing business lessons, life lessons, anything that I find cool. Today, I am going to share with you our biggest win for the week, which happened today. And by the way, just before I begin, today is the second week. Super excited that this concludes the second week of the Daily Journal video series. I mean, not concludes. It's just another milestone in there. And so, going back to the biggest win for this week happened today when we did our first hiring group interview ever. Was led by one of my partners. Super proud of her for having done that. She was feeling anxious, a little bit anxious before the call. Just normally she really loves to prepare, and I didn't give her so much of a chance to prepare, but she jumped in this call and she rocked it. I mean, she did amazing. She did really well. She led this call in front of a group. We were about 10 people in total in that call, and she led this call. And it was fun. We got to meet 10 people who were interested in our position here to work with us. I get more students. We found at least, this is the first round with the first group. We found like 4 people that were pretty solid, and we are wanting to take the next step forward with them, which it's going to be great. So we're going to be sending them an assessment soon, kind of to test their skills, test their abilities. But just I want to talk a second about the group interview dynamic. This is game changer, okay? And the reason for that, it's because, so we had we had 10 people scheduled, 8 people showed up. And so right there, like 2 people if we would have had one-on-one interviews scheduled, let's say half an hour with each person, that would have been an hour of our time just completely wasted with 2 people who would have no-showed us. So that right there saved us time. Then on top of that, we had 6 out of not 6. We have 4 people out of the 8 people who showed up that weren't that great, and so or maybe they were great, but we didn't see a good fit for them inside our company, and so with that in mind, those are people that those are 4 people. If we would have booked individual calls with each of them, that would have been half an hour with each of them. That would have been 2 hours, again, just completely gone. And so the fact that we were able to do in an hour and a half, meet with potentially 10 people, we got to meet with 8, like saved us so much time. It makes this process so much faster. And anyway, we're going to be repeating this tomorrow. We've got another 10 people. We might actually have like 20 people. Sunday, we got another 10 people. So we're opening up our schedules. We're really trying to move as fast as possible, even working in the week, although we work every weekend, but working on this weekend on this, making ourselves available for group interviews, because we just want to move really quickly. We need the help. We realize that we're understaffed by 4 people. And so this hiring process, I feel like it's going to be game changer already. It's like, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. The fact that what we're doing is that, so we're hiring for 3 different positions, kind of like a tech support lead, a tech support engineer, and a client success manager. We need 2 client success managers. And so we're hiring for these people. And even though they're different positions, we're sending them all to one general group interview. And so in this interview, the cool thing about this is, like, sometimes you jump on a hiring interview with somebody and you already know within the first 3 minutes that this is not going to be a good candidate. So you don't end up wasting, individual time with somebody who isn't a potentially like a good fit. And so, yeah, I mean, overall, it was really cool. It saves us time. This whole idea of like sending everybody to one centralized general interview as a first step, it's awesome, because you can have all sorts of positions in that, and then we tailored our questions to ask like more general questions, sort of getting to know each candidate type of questions, which was awesome just to determine, whether somebody is like culturally a good fit for what we're looking for. And also you get to see something that I didn't realize is like when you're doing a group interview, you kind of get to see who jumps in first, how they behave in group dynamics, what they say, how they react to other people, how they, anyway, it's really cool. Highly recommended. Would not recommend doing more than 10 people at a time because we found it difficult. We had like 15 questions we wanted to ask and we only got to like 8 because between people speaking, taking time to explain, some people sharing more than others, and so that right there was, it's great. The group interview is great, but don't do more than 10 people at a time because it does take a while to get through everybody with all of the questions and so on. And the questions that we asked were very general. They were more like, what are some of the biggest challenges you face professionally? What have you been most proud of? Just things like that are very, general that anybody can answer. And then you get to see, people's answer. You get to also have some sort of comparison with between all of the candidates, even though they're hiring for different positions, where they're applying for different positions, you kind of get to see their personalities and so on. Somebody that came in for one position, we're like, oh, this person might not be the best fit for this position they apply for, but they'd be fantastic for this other role that we have open. And so just being able to see that in real time, it's a little bit hard at the beginning because you're talking to 10 people at a time. You don't know them. You're trying to pay attention to what everybody's saying. Everybody's mic is not that great, and so sometimes they're muffled. Or like we had this person on the call who's like worst timing of all possible. As they were doing the interview, their fire alarms were getting serviced, and so they were just ringing. The person couldn't talk, and sometimes people speak, but they're not very aware of like making sure they keep their answers concise or making sure they don't take up too much time, or they might not be very socially aware, or anyway. So these are things that happen in the group dynamic, but overall, if you find a way, like it was actually fun. Juana leading it was super good, and we created an agenda for the meeting. We created questions ahead of time so that we would prepare, and it made the whole process fun. And I think people enjoyed it. It was also really cool getting to be, with a bunch of people that you wouldn't otherwise meet and like talk about trying to figure out who the best candidate is. Anyway, I can't stop saying enough good things about this group interview. I actually found this out from this person named Cole Gordon. I was watching his interview at a mastermind. I mean, not an interview. I was watching him give a talk on how he hires people in a mastermind that he was a part of with Sam Ovens. And I was watching that video where he talks about group interviews, and it intrigued me because many months ago we had done like 30 one-on-one interviews to find somebody, maybe even more, maybe like 50, I don't know. But in any case, like a lot of one-on-one interviews, and a lot of people you would jump on the call and you would know right away that they weren't a good person, and so or not a good person, but I mean like not a good fit for the role. And so anyway, I heard him say that, and I was like, man, how is that going to work? How is that? What are we going to do? And then, I took it even further because he normally does, like, if he's hiring for a client success manager, he'll do a lot of group interviews for the hiring success for client success managers, where I took it even a step further and I'm putting everybody into one interview. And overall, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a revolutionary way for us to hire more people quickly. And it's just a tool there that we're going to be able to rely on, and it's awesome. Besides that, in our business, realizing that one of our biggest bottlenecks right now is, so So our biggest bottleneck is support, but let me back up for a second. So for the past few days, I've been saying how I have been lacking clarity. I don't know what I should be working on. I don't know, yeah, what I should be focusing on. And right now, I realize that support, especially that we're gonna be bringing in new people, um, into our company. So right now, support is handled by our senior client success manager, who's awesome. He's super fast and he's answering questions. He's picked up the software and what we're doing really quickly, and he's handling a lot of questions. And then I'm jumping in at times. And but the thing about it is right now is that sometimes I see when he's answering questions that I would have answered differently, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, it's normal. I mean, we're different people. We each see things differently, so we're gonna see, we're gonna answer differently. But some things are like, for example, if a client has a question, when it comes to advertising, there are times where I would do it for the client, and then there are times where I would teach the client how to do it, for example, right? And so what makes the difference, like where is the difference, and how can I make one decision of like, okay, to this person I should teach them versus to this person I should do it for them? Where is that difference? And so like one of the things realizing, or it made me realize, is like we need to set down some like concrete guidelines around support. Some, here's like the principles by which we operate when it comes to support. Here's how we here's what we do for support, here's what we don't do for support. Here are, and we were chatting about this. Here are the levels of support. So tier 1 support answers these sort of questions, tier 2 answers these sort of questions, and so on. And so like just overall, how are we going to structure support? That's a big bottleneck. And also realizing like that I'm going to have to be more hands-on in the quality control part of it, in the quality assurance part of it, where I'm going to be having to go in there, check tickets to make sure that they're sounding good, at least at the beginning. And then the senior client success manager can take over. But I realize that it isn't so simple as like hire some people and throw some people at the problems. It's like I need to make sure that they're following the vision and they have the same set of, we are aligned on how we want to handle support, and then making sure that I'm giving them feedback, and that I'm telling them, at least giving them the input on what I'm thinking, so that we're all on the same page, and we're not answering people in a way that is not helpful to the client, in a way that is not good support, and just even defining what good support is. So anyway, I'm realizing this. So on one hand, needing to explicitly talk about with right now our senior client success manager, but later on with a team that we're trying to onboard, or that we're trying to hire for and then onboard, is what are the principles that we're going to be following? What are our guiding principles when it comes to answering support? And then also me having to spend time doing the quality assurance, which is, oh my God, it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time just double checking tickets that were already sent to clients, and like making sure that I'm catching what they're saying, and giving them feedback, coaching them, and so on. That right there is definitely not my favorite thing to do. But I came to this realization, because it's like, okay, if I don't take the time to do this, how is support ever going to get solved? Like, it's then going to be left to chance, right? It's then going to be sort of, we're going to hope for the best, which is not a good strategy. I want to make sure that we have support handled, nailed down. Right now, support is a big bottleneck, and the way to solve it is for me to actually be stepping in there. And although it might slow us down as a company for me to be focusing on tickets, it's necessary. And that's the part where I am feeling like, I want to move fast, and I want to get everything done, and I want to make sure I have all of these innovative ideas, and all of these ideas that we can be providing, or additional ways where we can provide more value to our clients. And right now I'm seeing that all needs to be put right now on the back burner, and we just really need to put all of our focus into making sure support sounds good, support is good, our clients are getting the support they need, that we're answering their questions fast, that we're answering with useful information. We all need to know what the standards for support are so that we know what standard to hold ourselves accountable to. And so that way I could give feedback to our employees whenever, if they're doing a good job, letting them know why. And then if they're not doing a good job, letting them know why. And so, but anyway, so I've been thinking about this I've been thinking that I should be spending time doing this. I have been like fighting it so hard, not wanting to like go in there and double check the tickets because I feel like it's slowing me down. It's preventing me to get to the other ideas that I have. But I realize how necessary it is. And I also watched this video today from Alex Ramosi saying like, it's the boring stuff. It's the boring stuff that makes the difference. The wealth is in better, not new. And so better means better support right now. And that's what we need. And he talks about how like doing the boring things that like doing quality assurance for tickets. I mean, he talks about like checking the calls of your salespeople and making sure they're saying the right things and meeting with them, doing a daily meeting and role playing with your sales team. And I thought, okay, if I need to do that, I also need to do that with support. I need to put my attention into it. And so it might mean that for now, all the other ideas get put on the side and get put on the back burner. But I feel like that's needed. If we're going to be successful, we need to make sure that we have a solid support process. And in order to do that, I need my time focused in there. And so it feels like I'm taking 2 steps back right now to do that, which I'm totally dreading. But I feel like it's a much needed part of our to be able to do this, to have success, is having a solid support process for our clients. The other thing that I've been thinking about is the fact that I watched this other Alex Ramosi video. By the way, Alex Ramosi is bringing it in with a solid content that every time, I try to watch one thing and then think about it and then see how it applies to our business. So he said something about, he was talking about how he went to the barber shop and how his barber was like, hey, I want to scale this business and I want to open up more stores. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing is starting to sell vintage clothing. And Alex Ramosi had a talk with him and said like, what is your goal? Do you want to scale? Do you want to open up more locations, or do you want to like have one location that is making a lot of money? And the person said, well, I want to scale. I want to open up more locations. He's like, well, then you don't want to do that. You don't want to bring in vintage clothing and all that. Because yes, that's good if you want to push one store and maximize the revenue of one store. But if you want to have multiple stores, then you got to find the thing that takes the least amount of time, that makes the most amount of profit, that has the highest amount of leverage with the least amount of input. And that for the barbershop was hiring other barbers so he was renting their chairs at his barbershop, and he was making essentially, so half of his income would come from these barbers renting his chair, and he didn't have to spend his time. And then the other half came from doing haircuts. And he's like, why don't you just stop doing your haircuts and just live off the money that you make without having to spend, and then open up a second location and then just hire more barbers. And then you don't have to do the work. They do the work. You make all the money. And then from there, you start scaling. And so the idea there was like finding the thing that has the highest leverage, that contributes the most amount of value, that takes the least amount of input, because that's the thing that is the most scalable. And so I have been thinking a lot about that idea right now and thinking, okay, at which point are we going way too deep in our niche, and instead saying like, okay, what are the most valuable things that we're doing currently for our clients, where they're getting like 90% of the value that we're providing them comes from these core few things, and then maybe just focus on this, not do anything else, and instead focus on, can we do this for other niches? Can we expand and if it's something easy, So I've been thinking about that. It's like, what is the easiest thing that we're doing that provides the most amount of value to our clients, that doesn't take additional effort on our end, or that it's easy for us to scale. I've been thinking about that so for a second, so I wanted to document that, and I thought that that was a really good way of thinking that Alex Hormozi shared there. Super solid, really insightful. Always love watching his content. And so anyway, that's something that I've been thinking about. The last thing I want to document over here is that I made a chart that looked like a exponential curve of growth. And I was drawing this on my iPad on my journal, and I'm like, what is the goal for this channel? And to me, it's like I would love, and I'm just gonna put it out there in the world. I just said this is a random number, 4.17 million subscribers, and I said I want to do that by 2027, but it's gonna look like an exponential growth curve. And so I thought to myself, so I did that, and I'm like, in the graph that I drew out, it looked like these videos weren't going to get any views until like 2024. Like my channel wasn't going to get any views until a year from now. And I thought to myself, okay, am I willing to do that? And then the answer of course, but it made me think, like, how cool is it? And for any of you watching, how many of you have wanted to start a project that it's going to be a really long-term project, and it's not going to be anything that you're going to get rewards from it now, but you're really passionate about it, you get excited? Like, to me, making these videos is super fun. It's actually my favorite part of the day, where I come over here and I get to share, and I love, I feel like I'm improving little by little on the way I speak. And so how many people have projects that they're tackling that are just that they're doing it for the fun of it, but they have like this long-term vision that perhaps someday is going to help you make money, but for now, it's just a fun project. And so this is kind of the way I'm thinking about this is, like, I just want to keep showing up, keep improving my speaking skills, my presentation skills, and then 2027, so 4 years from now, start to see some benefit, get to the goal that I want to. But at least, like, for now, to be honest, I don't even want people watching this videos, because I don't think I am that good at speaking yet, and I feel like I have a lot of room for improvement. So I just want to be able to keep coming over here, keep sharing, keep improving the way I present, the way I talk, and then hopefully at some point in the future, once I get better at being able to have more views on these, that'd be great. But for now, it's just fun coming over here. And so if you are watching and you have, like, if you've always thought, like, man, I want to start a YouTube channel, or I want to do this thing, I want to start a business, I want to do this project, maybe at some point in the future it'll help me make money, but I just want to do it because I find it fun, and I find it like I'm gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna help me transform myself. It's gonna help me improve myself. It's gonna help me, and I just will find it fun. Do it. I'm coming in here with my whole intention is to show up as many times as possible, show up every day without expecting anything. I'm just enjoying this process of coming over here, documenting my journey, and putting it out there. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching or for listening. My name is Hervin. Again, if you're interested in following along the Daily Journal video series, today is the second week. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.